Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Ether Hub. I'm Simon, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. Today is the start of Phyrexia All Will Be One lore, and in a hype move, we're revisiting one of the most anticipated characters of New Phyrexia, the Preators Voice, Atraxa. We're all fans of Atraxa, this completed angel, the will of the Preators, and it's great that in this side story we find out more about them. Before we begin, if you enjoy our content here at the Ether Hub, make sure you show your support by leaving this a like, becoming a subscriber, and sharing it with friends. So let's continue with this Phyrexia 1 side story, A Hollow Body, written by Asha Farah. A grinding metal voice. Do you know the traitor Geth? A figure bows her head. Of course she does. Everyone knows of the Lich, the Phyrexian without a completed head. A mere black spot on pristine linen. The voice again rose. I want you to seek him out, Ixhel. I want you to end him. Ixhel kneels before Atraxa, the grand unifier, the reason which you draw breath. Atraxa stands on the dais, made of bone and porcelain, next to Elesh Norn's vacant throne. She speaks. Geth is one of the 7 steel thanes of the Dross Pits, a sphere that has already caused us considerable annoyance. Atraxa tells her daughter, I ask that you boil that number down to 6. Bring me his filthy head. Ixhel spreads her wings, flying up and out of the vault, splitting through the stinking necrogen clouds of the Dross Pits. The gases came from pools of poisonous liquid necrogen. Ixhel gave them a wide berth as she makes her way through the landscape of several spheres. Geth's fortress is close, but blocked off by a sheer cliff. She could climb it, but that would take too much time. She could fly over it, but Atraxa told her to not announce her presence to the entire sphere. As she approaches the rock face, she sees a black gate. No latch, no lock, just fan-like impressions in a row in front of her. She presses her hand against one, and a low tone pulses out. She pulls back and touches another one, and then another. Each one produces a different sound. You need to press them in the right order, a voice says from behind. She spins around and throws the voice against the ground, holding it by its throat. It was a human, or an elf. Clearly an aspirant, partially completed. Identify yourself, creature, Ixhel sneers. I am Phyrexian. You can't kill me. And why not? Because I don't want to die, Phyrexian choked, breathing heavily with fear. Ixhel asks, why? Again, the aspirant turns the question back to her. Why don't you want to die? Ixhel knows the correct answer. Why would anyone fear death when no individual holds value? There's no other reason to be alive than to spread the truth of Phyrexia across the multiverse. The idea of death still unsettles Ixhel, and she tries to evaluate why. The conclusion? Because she is needed. The choking aspirant claims that he has a contract with Lord Geth, that Geth saves people with his deals, and that's why they call him the Thane of Contracts. He made a contract to get me out of the Hunter's Maze. He saved me, and now I must guard the gate. Phyrexian offers to open the gate to Ixhel in an attempt to save his own life. She grinds her teeth together, reluctantly letting Phyrexian help her. Phyrexians all operate towards a common goal, and to reject help, even from someone as abrasive as Phyrexian, would be counterproductive. The door flashes with a blue light and grinds open. She sees Phyrexian staring off into the distance, the parts of his body still encased with flesh, looking frail. He just sits here all day waiting for someone to come out and try to open the gate. If he is so intent on staying alive, he must enjoy his time here. It's curious. She turns back to the open gate and walks into the tunnel, lit by necrogen fumes. Goodbye, Lady Ixhel, Phyrexian calls down the tunnel. Give Lord Geth my regards. Down the tunnel, she sees more aspirants than she has in quite some time. Some halfway completed, some whose completion has gone wrong. Had Geth made deals with these creatures that should have been scrapped before they even took their first breath? Why would they bind themselves to a monstrous creature for nothing other than to continue their worthless lives? If you could not spread perfection through the multiverse, why wouldn't you allow yourself to be taken apart and be completed as something that could? She locates Geth's colossal fortress, made of black bone and red sinew, rising up from the sphere's necrogen pools. This gate isn't guarded, and there are no silly puzzles. No one challenges her as she walks up the stairs and into the grand hall. She steps into the throne room, an imitation of Elesh Norn's throne between 2 torches. How dare he compare himself to the mother of machines? fool! Ixhel's voice echoes through the dark hall. Lich abomination, where are you? You're smaller than I thought you'd be, says a voice in her ear. Ixhel twists, lifting her spear as she clashes with the voice behind her, barely staying on her feet. Good, seems you aren't all bravado, says Lord Geth. His pincers hold her spear, attached to two of many arachnid limbs, as he stands towering over her. I assume the mother has finally sent you for my head. Geth was almost fully completed, just his ugly rotting head was still organic. Unlike Balaxis, who couldn't help his state, Geth had never submitted to being fully completed. Geth lazily swipes his claw to parry her next attack. You're rusty, I see, Geth says. You've been fighting creatures who can't fight back. Geth strikes again, narrowly missing Ixhel. The only true loyalty is that which can be bought. No wonder you're weak. Laughing and swinging his claws. None of you children of the Machine Orthodoxy understand the victory born out of true struggle. The struggle to survive. I know that what really makes a warrior is the knowledge that if you lose, you die. Not that if you lose, there will be thousands of faceless others to take your place. Your ubiquity makes you weak, he spits. Geth stopped attacking and asked, how wrong am I? If I'm wrong, then why don't you lay down your arms and die? Surely your commander can simply send the next version of you. When you win, what will hold your people to you? When you spread yourselves across the multiverse. Ixhel brandishes her spear, but Geth bursts forward and catches her by the throat with a pincered claw. His ugly face breathes hot breath onto hers. What about you, little emissary? When you have burned down the rest of the plane, what will you have to sustain you beyond your orthodoxy? The love of that strange, harsh mother? What do you have to live for? Why do you exist? She screams with rage, opening her throat with the blade of her spear, blood and oil spilling forth. She wrenches herself free of the pincer's grip, and in a single stroke, swings her blade, severing Geth's head from his body. Rot in the ground, you worthless creature. Your contracts were as valuable as your pathetic life. She gurgles through her mangled throat, catching the disgusting organic head. As her throat knits itself closed, she feels the flesh of Geth's head give way beneath her fingers. His head gibbers nonsense as the glow in his eyes dims and becomes cloudy. What could he have been if he'd only submitted to the truth? Maybe in this, Ixhel could help him. When Phyrexians first settled the plain of Mirrodin and the glistening oil began transforming it to New Phyrexia, parts of the land awoke. They moved, shook themselves, and began to wander. These were the Domini. No one truly knows what they are, whether they think and desire the same way other Phyrexians do, if they wish to bring everything under the dominion of the Machine Orthodoxy. A short flight away from Geth's tower stands the Dominus of Pain, a towering razor-edged monolith when at rest. Impaled on its pointed spines were bodies twitching and screaming, the voices of aspirants, skitterlings, a priest, and some others just the rattle of bones. Ixhel pins Balaxi's writhing body down onto a pointed spoke. Why? Croaks Balaxis. I helped you. I know, she says, watching him writhe, and I'm grateful. The darkness of the other spheres made the pureness of the throne room in the fair basilica almost blinding. After leaving Geth's tower, Ixhel spent several days in Jin-Gitaxias' sphere, the surgical bay, watching her creation manifest. She made something, and she brought it home with her. The elegant, upright, perfect weapon, the grand unifier, Atraxa, now stares down at Ixhel's creation in disgust. Ixhel, what have you done? I only wanted to make something, she tried to explain, falling to her knees. Like you made me. Get rid of it. It is a Vishgraz. What? Atraxa's voice claws at the center of Ixhel. His name. She feels guilt, like she's never known before. A thing that follows orders is a thing that can never disappoint. Again she spoke. His name is Vishgraz. Atraxa leaves her kneeling on the floor. A familiar voice begins to laugh beside you. It is the body of Geth. Head now completed, with Balaxi's eyes piercing green, two limbs made from her own wings to create Vishgraz, who helps Ixhel to her feet. She doesn't know why, but she wanted to save them both. She wanted and in wanting, she failed. Come with me, Ixhel says, turning from him quickly. Where are we going? Vishgraz asks after a pause. To get rid of you. She leads her creation through the dross pits, concealed in their swirling mists of necrogen. Go, she tells Vishgraz. He asks her to come with him, but Ixhel declines with a laugh. You know, Ixhel, that the harmony of completion will spread, and that is good and right. But you know, all of that is ashes. You, your people, everything you set yourselves to do, all of it exists at the whim of a tyrant. Your machine orthodoxy means as much as my contracts. Vishgraz isn't Geth. He was her first defiance. After a long silence, the limbs she gave him finally moved, creaking into the distance. She aches, wishing to follow him, but she doesn't. Not yet. And there you guys go, the first side story of All Will Be One. Our first look at our return to New Phyrexia in the Magic the Gathering story. Atraxa seems to be completely under the will of her creator, Elesh Norn, but her own creations has a bit of a rebellious side. This was a great introduction to a new character, as well as the idea of lowly Phyrexian units experiencing blips of free will. Of course, fully completed Phyrexians see this as a massive defect, but it still shows that all are not one, at least not yet. Also, rip Geth. Sort of gets just dumped on us, but yeah, looks like the Geth we knew on Mirrodin and New Phyrexia is gone and replaced with a fully Phyrexianized monster. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, make sure you leave it a like, become a subscriber, and of course share it with your friends. It all goes a long way in helping support the channel. And until next time, guys, see ya!